All remember the two brothers, Davis Balla Mobb OGs. This is their story about before they became the OGs, who they were, what they were doing. So here they are right now. They used to be in the army. After their dad died and they hit the right age, they both enlisted and became the best in their unit. They had no fear, ready to just go do what they had to do. They had been deployed out in Afghanistan fighting ISIS. One evening on one of their little patrols, they saw something suspicious going down. They saw their own military having a meeting with some ISIS soldiers. They want to find out what the fuck was going on over here. The only thing they can think of that was going down was a drug deal. Because out in Afghanistan, there was a lot of opium, so there was a lot of heroin. Who better to bring it in but the military, straight back to Los Santos. The brothers saw an opportunity and decided to follow these ISIS soldiers, see where they were going, because again they had a plan of their own. These two were from the hood. In their heads, if the military could do it, then why couldn't they? So they went ahead and followed. When they arrived, the ISIS soldiers were very suspicious of them. But of course, the brothers talked their way out of it and told them that they were here to buy a large amount of stock. So the ISIS soldiers agreed to show them what they had. The room that they entered was filled with crates on crates of heroin. But they said concrete on them. So these guys wanted to make sure that this shit was the real deal. So they decided to try some for themselves. What do you know? That was some grade A shit right there. So it was on. The brothers agreed to buy a nice amount of the heroin.
Purchase your tracks today.
The plan that they had was to fly it back.
Mesdames et messieurs, vous écoutez une production Regelux.
Not only was the government selling heroin, but they were also stealing the oil. So what the brothers decided to do was package all the heroin in oil barrels and ship it back that way undetected. They paid off everyone they had to pay off. The pilots, they hired some ground crew. Everything seemed to be set for them. What they didn't know was that the US military was already surveilling their own people when they were buying drugs from ISIS, just to make sure everything went smooth. But again, the brothers didn't know this, so from the start, the military was already watching them and knew what they were up to. Or they had followed them from when they were following the ISIS soldiers. They decided not to intervene. They decided to watch and just see what happens. And there went the plane, back to Los Santos.
I don't get it.
The brothers came up with a nice little idea that they would go missing during one of their patrols and got the ISIS soldiers to send messages back to their base saying that they'd been kidnapped. But what really happened is that they snuck onto that US Navy plane and went back to Los Santos to handle some of their business. They called upon the Kilo Tray Ballas, some of their friends from back home. These guys, they took over a sawmill. They thought this is going to be the place where they're going to handle their operation and distribute to the rest of the county. The US military isn't dumb. They've been watching the boys. They've been watching their every single move. So they were sending one of their own little mercs to go keep an eye on them while they run their operation. After a month or so, a few flats of drugs coming in, everyone was running the smoothest path. The boys thought they were in the clear. They overwatched the operation that was going on in the sawmill, making sure no one was stealing the dope. But the US military had other plans. They decided to shoot down one of the planes that was carrying some of the heroin. They wanted to end the brothers' operation. Funnily enough, their cargo plane crashed right at the sawmill. This was a shock to everyone. Brothers had a feeling that they were being watched because all of a sudden there was police there straight away. They decided to make a run for it. Came to realize that they had nowhere to run. The bridge had been blocked off. Clearly this whole thing was set up. They weren't meant to get away, so they had no choice but to surrender. They knew they had committed a great crime. They knew the only place that they were going right now was to jail. They were sentenced to 66 years each for what they had done. They knew they weren't ever going to see freedom again. So while they were inside prison, they didn't give a fuck. Fighting every day. Fucking with all the gangs that were inside the prison walls. They were shanking other inmates. They were even shanking up guards. They did not care. They knew they were not leaving that place. Some say this is where they got their cold heart. After 2 years of being inside, the boys had enough of it. They made contact with some of their Kilo Tray homies and decided they need to do something about it. So on a rainy day, they decided to start some shit inside the prison walls. Maybe even start a riot. They needed a distraction for what was to come. So what they ended up doing was killing the guy in the middle of the yard that was the leader of the neo-Nazi group. This caused commotion within the prison walls. Of course the screws just stood by and just watched everything go down. There it was, a helicopter landing inside the prison walls, picked them up. They were free. That very same night of freedom, when they got back to the city, them and the Kilo Tray homies went on a complete rampage. These guys had a hit list when they came out. There was a number of gangs that they was looking to take out, so that they could again take over the drug game in the city. The Aztecas were first on the list. Again, they had beef with these motherfuckers back inside the walls of the prison. Second on the list was the Vargos. So all the top dogs in the Vargos had to be eliminated as well. Third on their list was the Trads. At this point, the Trads had the strip club as one of their little fronts, so the boys knew exactly where to catch the leader of the Trads. Last but not least, they were there for the family. Their Kilo Tray homies were loving this bit. After taking out all the leaders of those gangs, the brothers still never forgot something. They weren't to go after the person that locked them up, the person that fucked up their operation in the first place. Through some of their military connections, they got the name and the address of the guy that set them up. They decided to roll up on this motherfucker in the middle of the night, and luckily they caught him outside, having a conversation on his phone. They weren't looking to kill him there and then. Nah, they had other plans for him. They drove this motherfucker out to the middle of nowhere, forest. They exchanged some words with him. They said their goodbyes to him. They were sending a message. Anyone that touches them is gonna get a taste of what they're about. they became the most ruthless gang in Los Santos, and the whole of Blaine County. And you already know the rest of the story from there.